interior.
Oh, I see. You cut the outside of the bottom for the header. How about the mount? How about the mount? Motor mount. Huh? Custom made motor mount? I didn't have actually the original was convertible. Okay.
What is your first name?
My name is Irwin.
Irwin. And where are you from, Irwin, originally?
Originally New York.
New York. Oh, what part?
Long Island.
Oh, excellent. I'm meeting so many people from Long Island. Excellent. So it's a Crestliner and a Sunliner.
Okay, the model is the Crestline,
Okay.
which was the top of the line then. They had the main line, they had the custom line, and they had the Crestline.
Okay, this will be
Alright.
good for my...
So the Crestline is the top of the line model for this year.
Okay.
It was really the convertible and the hardtop with the Crestline.
Okay.
Alright.
So it had convertible and
Right.
hardtop. Only
Okay.
2 doors?
Only 2 doors.
Okay.
Now, the convertible was called the Sunliner. The convertible came down and you could enjoy the sun.
Right.
The hardtop was called the Victoria.
Okay. I've heard of that.
So the hardtop was the
Crestline Victoria.
and the convertible was the Crestline
Sunliner. Now, wasn't there a Sunliner with a hardtop that went into the trunk too?
That didn't come out until 1957.
And what year is this
This
one?
is a 53.
53. Okay.
Right, that they made that car for 57, 58, and 59. Just those 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
And that was the hardtop. That was the hardtop. They had a different name for it. It wasn't the Sunliner.
Oh.
The Sunliner was still the ragtop convertible.
Okay. Not to confuse them. Yeah.
I'm
Right.
trying to remember what they called it, and I'm drawing a blank. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You did great.
There was a name for
You've
it.
given me a lot, so you really know your Ford history.
Actually, I'm a Chevy man.
Are you really?
I really, really am. And my other car is a 52 Chevrolet hardtop.
Oh, I love those.
And that was the first year, the first generation, I should say, because the first year was 1950,
Right.
and that was called the Bel Air.
Right.
But
Okay.
most people don't know that.
That the
Because
50.
Chevy didn't come out with the Bel Air until 1953.
Ah, okay. But the
Alright.
50 was called a
But
Bel
the
Air, but it
50
didn't say it.
50 hardtop.
Right. And it didn't say it on
Only
it?
said Deluxe.
Ah, okay.
All right, it only said Deluxe, but in all of the nomenclature, the brochures, the hardtop was called the Bel Air,
Excellent.
but only the hardtop.
Only the hardtop.
Two-door sedan was called a sedan, and it was either Styleline or come on,
So they use line
or
with these.
Deluxe. That was it,
Huh.
right?
Styleline, then
Sorry,
Crestline,
the
Sunline,
Styleline and the Fleet Line.
Fleet line.
Okay.
All these
Now we're getting
lines,
into-
right?
now we're getting
Chevy
into
lines and
crazy
Ford
shit.
lines.
Chevy had a fastback,
Right.
and that was called the Fleet Line,
Okay.
and they made it until 1952.
Oh, that's
So
that
last
real
year
long.
was
I know the car.
Right,
Yes.
Okay. And the regular sedan was called a Styleline.
Okay.
Now the hardtop was a Styleline Bel Air.
Okay. So you're an expert in the 50s Fords and Chevys.
Well, I enjoyed the cars, and it's the era I grew up in, and it's the era I went to high school in.
Ah,
So
right. We're all connected to
and
pretty much.
that's it. And I was a gearhead even as a kid.
Really?
It
Okay.
hasn't changed.
That's great. That really is. Really, it's phenomenal.
What else can I share with you?
No, I mean, how long have you had this car?
About 20 years now.
20 years, and you work on it yourself, obviously,
Up until
because you're a
recently-
gearhead.
Up until recently, I'm getting too old.
Ah,
All right, but this another facet. Unfortunately, the 54 Ford is gone. But this is the last year of Henry Ford's flathead V8.
okay.
All right.
Yep.
Henry Ford made a flathead V8 in 1932.
All right.
All right. That was your Deuce Coupe.
Yeah, right. I just
right.
did a thing on the Deuce Coupe yesterday.
Okay, and that was the first year of the flathead V8. That was Henry Ford. Chevrolet came out with a 6-cylinder engine in 1929.
Right.
Okay. Henry Ford only had a 4-cylinder in its Model A. So
Okay.
Chevy began to outsell
Ah, because of
Henry
the
Ford's Model
performance.
A because of the difference of the 4-cylinder and the 6. But Henry Ford hated 6-cylinder engines. So he didn't want to compete with Chevy on Chevy's turf.
Okay.
And instead he had his engineers design an 8-cylinder engine.
Ah.
And this was the beginning of the flathead
Oh,
V8.
that's what. And the 32.
Right? And 32, he came out. Now the 32 Ford is called a Model B,
Right. Okay.
not a Model A.
Right. Model
And
B.
it was a Model B because they did have a 4-cylinder in it, but you could also order it with the flathead V8.
Okay. And that's
Right?
what created the
And
Deuce
that's what
Coupe.
created the Deuce Coupe.
Because they made so many of
Right,
them too.
and that was the story with Dillinger, the bank robber, telling Henry Ford that he loved his car because it was so fast to get away. It was a flathead V8.
Right. Right.
All right,
Yeah. There's a guy over there with one, but it's custom.
and it's not.
It's totally
It's
custom.
a beautiful coupe.
Yeah, but it's totally
But
custom.
It's not a flathead.
It's glass.
Right. Okay, that's really.
Well,
all right, that I
except for
didn't
the
realize.
front. It's got a steel front,
I have no idea.
but the
what
rest
that
of it is all
It's like
glass.
fiberglass?
Yeah. It just shows at least what they could look like, kind of.
Absolutely.
It gives you the styling. So.
And it was a great car. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, back then.
This
Yeah.
is the last year of the flathead V8.
Ah.
And it started out in 1932 as a 60 horsepower engine, and the final year was 110 horsepower.
Okay.
So in literally the 21-year span, it went from 60 horsepower to
110.
well,
Wow.
110.
And then it went to
from
the V8
220
after
this
that.
is a V8. This is a V8.
Oh, you said it was a flat.
Right, a flathead V8 as opposed to an
Oh,
overhead V8.
okay. And then they went to the overhead.
And they went to the
Okay.
overhead.
Right.
And the 54 is gone, unfortunately, because he just left.
Right.
But he has the first year
Overhead
of
eight.
the overhead V8.
I got it.
And it's the same 239 engine.
Oh wow. They just
right?
changed the
They
heads
just
on
changed
it.
the heads on it.
Okay.
That was it.
Wow.
Right? It made an overhead engine instead of a flathead. And in that change, it went from 110 horsepower to 130 horsepower.
Wow.
Just the difference in changing.
Yeah, just
an overhead
changing the
valve
heads.
engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Interesting.
exactly it.
They did so many experimental things and so many one-off things
Well,
and
that was the interesting
custom
part of it.
things and
This is the last year
of the flat 8.
not only the flatting, but of come on, I'm losing it again. It's getting
Sir, no, you're doing fun. I'm worse than you, and I'm younger. So
Anyway, they in 1954 they came out with the ball joint front suspension as opposed to the kingpin
Okay.
front suspension. And so this is the last year of the flathead V8, the kingpin suspension. All right.
Nice.
There's a lot of last years in this 53.
in this car, wow.
And if you looked at the difference between the 53 and the 54, the bodies are the same. People didn't realize
Right.
the changes.
Just those
And
changes.
Ford tried to emphasize them. All right. But
Back
most
then,
people-
you mean
back then-
they really promoted the fact
Absolutely,
that
because they were ahead.
right.
Chevy in 1952 still had pedals going through the floor with the master cylinder under the floorboard.
Oh wow.
Ford came out in 1952 with pedals suspended from the firewall with the master cylinder in the firewall.
Wow.
Major change, because I had an old Plymouth that had the pedals through the floor.
Right.
And I remember buying a 52 Ford as a used car
Right. Yeah.
and couldn't believe how modern it was in comparison.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
And when I get from my 52 Chevy, which I love, to this 53 Ford, the difference is night and day.
Wow.
It really, really is.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you know your stuff.
Well,
You really do.
Been doing it for a long time,
Yeah. Well, it's nice, and you bring the car out and show it, and
and I love talking to people about the era.
that's
Now,
great.
again, This is Korean War. People don't realize the shortages that occurred during the Korean War.
Right.
My 52 Chevy, when it came out as a new car, less than a year, people were painting the chrome silver.
Oh wow, because they couldn't get
They
it.
couldn't get the copper to line the metal and
Ah.
chrome it.
Wow.
So the chrome would peel off within the first year.
Oh
You
god.
couldn't get white wall tires.
Huh.
If you take a look, I just put them away. Oh no, it's a Chevy. It's not this. Okay, no, my Chevy advertisements, they're all black ones because
From
black ones weren't available.
50.
By 53, they were available. Unfortunately, all right, well, fortunately.
Right.
The Korean War was the first year, the first war that we fought with jet aircraft.
Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, take a look at the hood ornament.
Yeah. Right. Right. I
a
remember
jet.
those. Yeah.
All right, take a look at
They put those on different. Matter of fact, you know what? My father had a wagon of one of these. Did they make a wagon?
Sure.
So my father had a wagon. Matter of fact, he had a sedan. He had a sedan delivery,
Absolutely. Same thing.
and he had a cleaning,
Didn't
a
matter.
window washing
That's
company,
right. That didn't
and I remember that
That's right.
on the hood.
That was the hood ornament for the 53 Ford.
Wow. Okay.
Take a look at the chrome.
Right.
Right? What does it look like?
Looks like a jet.
That's my point with the contrail.
Oh yeah.
the
Oh
front
yeah.
piece.
Look at that. Huh.
All right? The idea was to give you motion standing still.
Right.
All right?
Connected to a jet, or yeah. Right.
No.
That's when the jet first started. So it
It's
was
the first war fought with jet aircraft.
with jet aircraft.
Now I want you to look here. What's the tail light look like?
It looks like an engine, right? Jet engine.
Back end of the jet engine.
Yeah. Right. yeah. Right.
All right?
Okay.
So the design of the cars reflected what was going on in society.
I see. Yep. Because
Right?
because the Korean War was going on.
Absolutely. That is the end of the Korean War.
Right, the end. Right, because of the supply chain issue, and then all of a sudden they were getting supplies, but they had to do what they had to
Yes.
in the meantime. But they styled it after a jet because the jet was the thing
And
coming
it was
out.
motion. It was
Right, motion.
Motion standing still.
Motion standing still. I like that. Yep. Wow, you're just full of information. That's great.
See, you get to the retired teacher.
No, but are you a teacher? Were you a teacher? Oh, were you really? What'd you teach?
I taught industrial arts.
Really?
And then I moved over and became a guidance counselor
Was this in New York?
in New York.
Wow.
I retired as the director of guidance.
Oh, wow, that's great.